Hi everyone, I'm Jeevika. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Top Road. And we help people turn custom GPTs into businesses. So by adding our GPT tools actions to your custom GPT, you can add a subscription paywall. And so far, we've helped people make over 380,000 USD in the OpenAI GPT store so far. So we're really excited to meet with more of the builders who are building these great custom GPTs. And today, I'm really excited to introduce to you Dr. Joseph Odongo in Nairobi, Kenya, which is very special to me as I used to live in Nairobi,
Thank
although
you.
I'm in Sydney
Yeah.
these days. And what's really cool about Joseph's background, and he'll go into a bit more detail, is that he's a senior biotechnology specialist and he's got a PhD in molecular microbiology and biotechnology. And why I was really excited to have him talk to us today was that I think there's a real magic when we connect true subject matter experts such as Joseph with the technology of generative AI. And so far, he'll be telling us about the custom GPTs that he's built, which have generated over 1,000 USD in the GPT store so far. So thanks so much for making time to talk to us, Joseph. In your own words, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what you do for, your job and a bit of your research background?
Thank you very much, Jeevika. I'm glad to be here today and to interact with you on what really I'm doing and so far what have I achieved. So basically, allow me to start with my background. I'm specialist in molecular microbiology and biotechnology, and I have over 12 years of work experience as a senior biosafety officer, and I also have expertise in areas like biosecurity, biointelligence, and currently I'm pursuing AI intersection in biotechnology because I really realize that this one field that is can really accelerate research and can help us as scientists to make informed decisions. Yes, yes.
And so in your so outside of building custom GPTs, in your workplace, are other scientists using AI, or would you say that like in your organization, are you sort of like leading the charge in terms of like using AI for that acceleration of research? What's it like over there?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, the first time I interacted with the OpenAI, and I came to realization that they were having that component of, having those customized GTPs away from chat GTPs. And I look at the component keenly and the provisions within those components, like, they were offering us a chance to configure our ideas just using words, not coding. And I was, my background has been research, and research, we deal with a lot of databases.
Mhm.
We do a lot of, searching information from different papers, different publications. We look for information in different databases like GeneBank, and sometimes it takes a lot of time, you looking for that information and even trying to identify tools. And these are technology tools that can really help you accelerate your work. So it was a big concern to me if I could really come up with some simplified ways of accelerating that component, because I realize even personally in my research work, I will take 70% of my time just doing journaling, moving from one journal to the other, looking for information, what has been done in that field, what is really new, what
Mhm.
methodology have they used, what approach, which tool did they use to get those results, so that they could actually help me improve on my work. So you find that 80%, 70 to 80% of my work was really involved in that, and forgetting the key aspect or the key component of doing the wet lab research itself. Yeah,
Mhm.
so when I came across the OpenAI custom GTP, I realized that now this is really a big solution to us as scientists, because it's really going to help me now automate the processes. And, sometimes we do a lot of formulations,
Mhm.
even accelerate that process of doing formulation so that you identify which component and which quantity is expected here, and what is other papers, researchers that even work on the same, what have they done. So with the customs GTP, I realized that this is something that it can be simplified, and it has really assisted me as a person. So that's how I started. Eventually, I realized that this is something that even other people can benefit from. So I started with personal custom GTPs that were not accessible to anybody, only me. But I realized this thing can really help solve some of the research challenges that we are facing as we tend to do our research. So I started now putting them in OpenAI Store, and to my realization, many people are using them actually across the globe, and I am having a lot of clients from Europe and US using different kind of chat GTPs that have developed. So I'm really inspired, and it's really motivating that you are coming with something even in a small way that somebody else is utilizing to be able to solve world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's so
Yeah.
interesting because that was actually going to be one of my questions to you is that as someone who doesn't have a scientific training background, but whenever I think of science, it's almost the opposite of generative AI. It's sort of like answers are right or wrong. So one of the questions I had for you was going to be around, how is generative AI useful given that it can kind of give you, multiple different answers. But I think what you're saying is that before you get to doing that kind of setting hypothesis and lab work, you just have to do a lot of text-based research and getting across what's
Yes.
already been
Yeah.
done. And that's the part that this is really helping you with.
Yes. Yeah. That is very true, because some of the times I normally do a baseline, and I really start by developing the knowledge base. And now this form part of my knowledge component that I also upload in my custom GTP. I do a lot of research if it is formulation. So I develop instructions that guides the custom GTP in the final output.
Mm-hmm.
One of the challenges we are also experiencing is that the output of AI is non-deterministic in nature. So normally I try, and sometimes it's even hallucinate. I'm trying to come up with instructions that will really fine tune and guide the custom GTP in providing an answer that is more accurate, or just approximately near accuracy. And this is something that has really helped us, because I've even had people saying that sometimes if you are trying to do just a research paper, and GTP like ChatGTP will end up giving you some references that does not exist. This is something
Yeah.
that can really be solved in a very effective way when you use customs GTP and you give it instructions that guide it in those processes. Yeah, so this is how great, and this is how far I've come with the custom GTP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like on that point about making sure it's referring to um, real verifiable sources,
Mm.
do you guide it in terms of like which journal articles it should refer to, or how do you make sure that the custom GPTs are resulting in more accurate responses compared to if you ask that same question or prompt in just the normal chat GPT?
Yes, yeah. What normally I do, I come up with what I will call a simple operating system. So on my simple operating system, I will develop a strategy that the custom GTP will follow, and I will normally put them in instruction, and sometimes I upload in knowledge base section. So a set of strategy that guide it on where to go, where not to go, and even the limitations within that particular scope, that it needs only to focus on this and avoid other areas that I feel are not appropriate, or may end up giving answers that are not accurate. So that's how I deal with it. So I also venture much in research papers, and try to extract information that can really guide me in coming up with instructions that are very pivotal in that way. so that at the end of the day, any knowledge base or instruction that is provided is fed to the custom GTP. It's able to give me a very fine-tuned and output as expected. Yes.
No, that's super
Mm.
interesting. Um, and so
Mm.
you were mentioning that you first started, and we hear this a lot, by the way, of like people first developing custom GPTs for their internal or private use before they go on to perhaps make them public. So I was just wondering, so one of the use cases or problems that you were trying to solve is like, hey, how do I try and make the research before I do any kind of lab work a little bit more streamlined? What are some other
Yes.
kind of problems that you've been using custom GPTs to try and solve in your work?
Yeah, thank you very much. A good example that I can give is cell annotation custom GTP. It's one of the initial custom GTP that I developed, and I was using it personally. And at that particular time, I remember I was dealing with different cells, different plant cells, and there were so many. And my role was to identify which cells. So for me to identify, I was associating it with the already existing databases that are specific to particular genes, that I could now say that this particular tissue and this cell, this is how I should annotate it, and this is how I should identify it. And I did a lot of some research and did a lot of some of databases that can help me in identifying cells, and there were very many. So I was able now to come up with a custom GTP that will swiftly, within minutes, but when you give the right details,
Mhm.
it will help you identify the type of cell that you are
Oh,
dealing
wow.
with. And this one, I use it personally, and I then realized that now many people are using it around the globe, and receive a lot of appreciation on the same cell annotation chat GTP. Another one that I came up with was on dual use research of concern, because as scientists, as much as we are doing research, we are also guided by ethics.
Hmm.
And this now is issues to do with biosafety and biosecurity. You should not engage in research that will be detrimental to the environment, will be detrimental to human health, or will affect our animals per se. So some methodology that we apply in the research and some of the reagents we use may have a dual use in nature. And sometimes the kind of people we work with within the lab may not understand this because they have not been undertaken through that training on
Hmm.
biosafety or dual use research of concern. How can you carry your research in a responsible way? Yeah, so I came up with a tool that, for example, when you are using a chemical, you just upload the chemical formula of that particular chemical, or you just take a screenshot, and
Hmm.
the custom GTP is able to identify the components of dual use and also able to guide you on how responsible you can utilize that chemical within your lab setup. Yeah,
Hmm.
so these are some of the things that have really achieved in this atmosphere of custom GTPs, and it is really working effectively, and I'm seeing many people embracing using it also globally. Yes.
Yeah, no, really, really interesting use cases there. I also want to ask you about,
Mm.
I was looking at some of your stats before this interview, and I noticed that your most popular GPT is cosmetic formulation and development, which is why I love
Yeah.
custom
Yeah.
GPTs, so niche. But I
Yeah.
was looking at some of the example prompts, and it was saying that, it can help you figure out what equipment you need if you want to do small batch lotion production, or if you want to create 100% green face moisturizer formulation. So yeah, can you just
Mhm.
talk me through yeah, what was the
Mhm.
genesis of developing this cosmetic formulation GPT, and who uses it? Like, who's making it?
Yeah, this is really interesting to say. This is one of aspect of biotechnology. We use parts of plants, parts of animals, all the processes to come up with products. And basically, I've been interested in medicinal plants, herbals, and all those, and even aspects of cosmetics. So when I was really pursuing this field, I came to realization that there was a big gap, there was a challenge. Many people would wish to go green by using cosmetics that have been developed from plants. But now the biggest challenge is there, the specification, the kind of equipment, and also quality control, which means you do the right formulation. In cosmetic, if you don't do the right formulation, then the end product will be, detrimental. It will be harmful to your skin, and it will impact you with other problems that might be lifetime in terms of treatment. So I realized the core thing that, this COP, they really need to understand is, number one, identifying the right ingredients and coming up with the right formulations that will help them now develop the final products. And it's one of the custom GTP that also has really attracted many people, and
Yeah.
it's having users around the world. And I'm really impressed that really people are using it in terms of quality controls, in terms of equipment identification, specifications, and even the formulation, which is a very key component in cosmetic formulations. Yes. Yeah.
No, it's super interesting. How do you think about developing new GPTs versus growing your current GPTs that you've already built?
Yes, I've been. This is a very good question. I've been focusing on now how effective can I enhance, those custom GTPs that have really attracted people, and I have now a very good user base around the world. And one way I'm thinking is now introducing other features, that really will really contribute a very quality output. And one way I was thinking is now coming up with models that I can also link to those custom GTPs. That's another way I was thinking. And even going beyond custom GTP to integrate them with software based from the baseline understanding that I've had
Mhm.
from those customs. Like now cosmetic formula, it has really proved to me that, this is something that, even if in terms of software, or in terms of a model, or in terms of, an agentic system, there is something that if it advanced to those level, really it can contribute a lot in addressing some of the real challenges that people face in such industry. Yeah, so that has been my, my future thinking.
And so are you thinking more in terms of um, perhaps having a version of, say, that cosmetic formulation and development um, AI on a different platform or using different AI tools and not necessarily having to be custom GPTs all the time?
Actually, my thinking is still the resource will be those custom GTP. That will be the starting point.
Mhm.
But even if it is me coming up with a standalone application, but
Mhm.
still it will be linked to the custom GTP, because that is the right direction, whereby even, client base, they
Mhm.
can really say we have been using custom GTP, but through that custom GTP, we have other extended advanced services that we
Yeah.
can also benefit from. Yes. Yeah, that is one way I've been looking at it. Second way I've been looking at it is now integrating those custom GTP with models like Hugging Face. You see, I also train other models in Hugging Face,
Mhm.
doing the same thing, but now link so that, some of those third-party features can be enhanced within the environment of OpenAI.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and that is very easy for us as scientists, because, you know it also addresses issues of, external hosting charges and all those expenses that you may incur. Yeah, so it gives you a platform to, even, really test and validate your systems before even thinking of now advancing. Because sometimes, you come up with a product, even biotechnology, you have been facing this, you come up with a very good product, but nobody is ready to buy it because they don't see the benefit. So these are some of the realizations we are getting within the scope of utilizing already existing, large language models like OpenAI, the ChatGPTs, yeah, through their customization platform, to be able to really prove and validate that this is an idea that is really working and people have embraced. Yeah, and in fact, even at an investor pitch, this is something that I know can really convince many. Even if you come up with a very good software that has no platform and I'm having custom GTP, I will be able to convince that investor that, see, this is the traction that I've developed. This is the usage all over the world. These are some of the things that have gaps, and this is what I've done to address them. Yeah, so it gives us a very good platform for really validating your ideas,
Yeah.
and proving them to the world that it is doable and it's really solving the problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. So I think that's what I was just trying to get a bit more of how you think about it, because from what we're seeing is that there's so many different approaches to how people want to use GPTs. So sometimes people build GPTs as an MVP, as you were saying, just something maybe quick, something just to demonstrate that there is some sort of traction. And then the plan is, okay, later on, they might go and build standalone app,
Mm,
and they may or may not continue having the custom GPT. We've got other builders who they might start with a custom GPT as a lightweight product, and then they also offer their
mm,
own services. So they kind of say, hey, like, for X dollars a month, you have the custom GPT, but if you play, 10x that, you can have one-on-one support, but they use the custom GPT more as a lead generation for their service side of their business. And then some people,
yes.
I think the last part that you were alluding to is there's actually a lot of functionality within custom GPTs. So yes, there are the
Yes.
instructions, the knowledge base, but with actions, you really like the world is your oyster. You can kind of pull in real-time information from doing database searches or like different models, as you were saying. So obviously that action part requires the ability to code. But I think at least say
Mm,
someone in your situation, you've already got some like kind of paying customers, you know that there's traction. So putting that extra investment of time and effort, um, I guess
yes.
it just makes it a little bit easier to know where to put your money and your effort in terms of product development. Look forward to
Mm,
seeing how custom GPTs evolve in the OpenAI ecosystem. And yeah, I wish you all the
thank you.
best with developing your
Thank you
custom
very much.
GPTs.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this time and thank you for inviting me. Yes, sir.